Hey y'all, I'm Elisa and I am the Scrappy Wife behind scrappywife.com, and today I have a Bible journaling process video for you. I am working in the Illustrated Faith Devotional 2020 and I'm in the first week on the fourth prompt, Matthew 21:22, seeing isn't believing, believing isn't seeing. And Tiffani has us listening to It Is Well by Bethel Music. Love this song, and so I will have it on repeat as I start to work. This should be a pretty simple Bible journaling entry. I was actually pretty surprised that I didn't have this one already done in my Bible. So looking forward to using some of these gorgeous tickets here from Shawna Clingerman and a lot of the other supplies that came along with some stamping. So I will put you all on fast forward and we will get going. Let's go. Okay, this actually comes together really easily. I've taken some time away from journaling and crafting over the break when my family and my kids were home, and I wanted to get back and I wanted to just do things that I felt really comfortable with. So I didn't want to try out any crazy techniques. So here I'm just going to do a repetitive stamping technique. I'm doing first, second, and third generation stamps using these really sweet little eyeglasses and some Distress Oxide ink. I'm going to mix in a little bit of pink right here. Most of this actually ends up getting covered up, but I wanted to kind of lay a basis for where I would cluster some of the die cut pieces. I loved all of these sweet tickets that were designed by Shawna Clingerman. She was really on a roll this fall with lots of ticket designs, and this was a journaling card designed by Shawna, and it's like a large ticket. So I ended up cutting it out and I'll use it to add my little journaling prayer. And then I'm just gonna layer these tickets all around the larger journaling card. You can see me just kind of playing with the placement here, and I wanted those little eyeglasses to kind of pop out behind where my layering would be. Once I'm done placing those tickets, I do decide to include one more die cut piece, a pair of glasses, but these were kind of printed off center, or at least cut off center, so I pull out my scissors and kind of trim around them. I'm not sure if this happened with anyone else's kits this month, but a lot of my eyeglasses were cut off center. Not a big deal, I can just trim around, but yeah, just wanted to make sure it looked a little bit more centered on that white trim around it. Now, Illustrated Faith includes printables when you buy their physical kit, and so I printed out more tickets on what turns out to be clear sticker paper, and I really enjoyed layering clear sticker paper with regular ephemera pieces, and I think it makes for a cool effect. And so you can see I'm placing those pieces behind there. I will end up sticking them down, and I'm pulling out one more stamp, and this is the tiny little mountain stamp. This month, all of the Illustrated Faith stamps, not all of them, but a lot of them were kind of a smaller scale, which is fun, especially for a planner girl like myself. And I loved this little mountain because the premise of this entry is moving mountains, and that a faith in God can move mountains. And we are in Matthew 21, and I actually end up underlining 21 and 22. Jesus answered them, "Truly I tell you, if you have faith and do not doubt, you will not only do what was done to the fig tree, but even if you tell this mountain, be lifted up and thrown into the sea, it will be done. And if you believe, you will receive whatever you ask for in prayer." As I'm adhering all of these pieces down, I was really just thinking about the times that I kind of limit God in my own head and kind of think that, oh, it's too hard or it's too big or too small. Just times that I don't completely give in to my faith and let my faith lead me. And that's kind of a recurring theme for me in this new year. So I was really just pondering that question and then layering all of these pieces together. You can see a lot of that stamping does get covered up, but that's okay. I really enjoyed it being there, and I like the few bits that are peeking out. Now, these are some old Illustrated Faith Bella Boulevard stickers. I think we probably all have a bunch of these in our stash. I know I do, and I'm trying to use them all up, and so I'm mixing some different colors that kind of go with the scheme on the page and adding my title, Belief is Your Ticket. And I wanted to kind of convey belief is your ticket to get to see what God can do. If you truly believe and if you get out of His way, then you're really going to see some amazing things that God can do in your life. I end up grabbing another set of the sweet eyeglasses that came in the kit, and I'm going to use this as the basis for a cluster at the top of my page, adding a tab. I grabbed for some old school Illustrated Faith washi tape, the pink with the white crosses. This might even still be available over at Dayspring. If it is, I'll link it below. And I'm going to adhere the tape, and then you'll see I cut off little pieces, and make sure you just use those pieces. Stick them in different areas, stick them in different places. It brings a cohesive look to the page because you have a recurring theme, and you just don't waste any of your supplies. Not that any of us are running out of washi tape anytime soon, but I do like just using those pieces all over my page to really bring it all together. I will use some permanent adhesive to put the sunglasses there on the top of the page, and actually I end up coming back to this cluster later on. I jump over to another part of the page. It's feeling a little bit empty to me, and the title is not feeling connected to the rest. So I use one of the stamps from the kit, which are these wonky crosses, and I am just using them to bring in some black across the page. I do find 5 different places to put them. Working in odd numbers is kind of artistically fulfilling. So I have 5 different places where those wonky crosses are occurring on my page. And then I decide to grab for some Dilution Shimmer. I kind of go back and forth between this pink and the turquoise, and I end up going for the pink. I'm going to use an additional journaling card to kind of cover up that journaling space because I don't want it to get splatter on it. But I open up the spray bottle instead of spraying directly, and I'm just going to tap it off to add some gentle splatters across the page. I like the mixed media feel of that. It's just a little touch of shimmer on the page, which I'm always a big fan of, and I like that it kind of brings the top all the way to the bottom. This month, Illustrated Faith included a sheet of kind of cut apart word fetty, and so I'm taking one of those pieces, "O Lord of my heart." I cut it out of the sheet, and I'll use that as the title. Now I grab a date stamp. Important reminder, make sure you change your date stamps over to 2020. I cannot believe we are already there. And I kind of triple stamp my date right there, January 2nd, 2020. Add my verse reference here, and then you'll see me add in just a simple sentence: when did I stop believing through faith all things are possible? And it's kind of just a challenge to myself to kind of reconnect my faith to the amazingness of God. You can see I've pulled out that same mountain stamp that I had in the background, and I'm going to put it in this little box here on the left, and I decide to make a little mask. And the way you make a stamp mask, just stamp it on a piece of scrap paper, and then you place that directly on your stamped image. And this is how you can kind of layer stamps, and so I wanted to make my own little mountain range right here. So I use that stamped mask to cover up the image that I want in the front, and then that way I'm able to label some layer some stamps behind it. Here I take a moment to underline the verses that I'm referencing. Again, I feel like this was kind of a back to the basics entry for me because this is something I've been getting away from. I haven't actually been underlining in my Bible. I've been writing out the scripture reference or in some other way, and I kind of missed just the very direct underlining. And then of course that simple sentence that I mentioned before, kind of a challenge to myself to really search whether or not I'm limiting my faith and whether or not I'm trying to limit God. I am loving this kit, and I'm loving getting back into journaling now that we've hit the new year and my kids are getting ready to get back in school. Let me know how you are setting some goals for your journaling in the coming year. I'd love to hear it and read it below. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and consider hitting that subscribe button as well as that bell notification button. Have a fabulous day and a fabulous start to your week. As always, keep it creative.